Welcome to the video where I will show you my June coloring results. Let's start from Steampunk Revival. First of all, it's a book where I did a lot of pictures during June, and second, it's one of the books which I selected to participate in monthly color along Color with Ukraine. This month's theme was parks and gardens, so I selected perfect picture. I wanted to do it for a long time, but I wasn't sure how to color water. It's the biggest problem for me. I struggle with water in Teresa Goodrich book, I struggle with water in other books. I think that I know the basics, that sky has to be reflected in the color of water, about highlights, about shadows, but every time I struggle with doing it on paper. Well, so here I have a page which I colored mostly with polychromos pencils, and I think that I managed to do, well, close to what I imagined. I do love this group of garden designers. I think that this one is garden designer. That's probably the future owner of the garden. It looks very lovely, very stylish. And yeah, I colored everything quite quickly apart from water. I decided that as we have here an evening atmosphere, I selected evening, almost night, because here we have a mole. He definitely will be more comfortable in his garden during dark times. So I selected dark Ohuhu markers to put base color for the water, and then colors of sky I tried to reflect in this water. Well, close to what I imagined. As I say, I just need to practice more. Maybe one day I will do perfect water. So that's number one, which I did in this book. That's number two, I believe. Here, well, what can I say? I simply love these polychromos pencils, everything from cobalt turquoise, light cobalt turquoise, cobalt green, halo turquoise. I absolutely love to combine them, to use them, especially with colors like orange or pink. I think that it's color combo which always looks quite nice, and that's exactly what I did here. So that's almost everything pencils. Only for the submarine I used a little bit of Prismacolor pencils, simply because I love cool grays from Prismacolor. Well, lovely and easy. And finally, I did a page which is absolutely perfect for this time of the year. At least in our area we have quite a hot weather, and ice cream definitely is a lifesaver. I love ice cream. I love to taste various ice cream tastes. I love to experiment. So here I wanted to show this hot weather, and I did background using gel crayons. Actually, King Art gel crayons are quite helpful in this book. I start to regret that I have only 2 sets, and I use very limited amount of colors which I at least can combine. All those cream, peach, sand colors which I used here, maybe I need to get more, and finally I will be able to use all of them, because on this paper they really behave well. I put them on paper very simply, just with my fingers, and surprisingly they behave and they blend really well. So I'm happy that finally that set of crayons, which I once received it as a gift and I didn't know what to do with them, they didn't behave similar to Neo colors, so I was slightly confused. And now when I just put them on paper and simply blend, they are really very easy to use, very helpful, and I feel a little bit like a kid who colors with fingers. It's very very big pleasure to be a tactile person, to color in such a way with just your fingers. So here we have the ice cream. Definitely he is my main hero. I think that it's a walrus probably. He is adorable, but children who want to purchase ice cream, they also are adorable. Very lovely page as usual from Russell Hampson. A lot of fun elements, big attention to details. So I have really good progress in Steampunk Revival during June, and I definitely don't intend to stop. Speaking again about garden theme, second page which I selected for Kolorowanka, it was page from Small Town Charm, where I still try to find my way how to color in more realistic way and trying to do less vibrant pictures. Here I experimented with another possible color for the wood. I wanted to do this weather building where apart from traditional brown colors for wood, I added a lot of greens. So maybe it's just faded green building, but now green paint almost disappear and we can see beneath original brown wood. This effect, I think that I achieved it. The rest, well, so, but it's full of lovely details and in general I do love this page. Also, I finally remembered about a kitchen charm book which I colored quite actively last year. Then I even promised myself to finish it one day, and then as usual I totally stopped to coloring it. Finally, I did something here. Maybe not my best work, but I already tried many color combos here, both for wooden furniture, for wallpapers. So it's difficult to create something really new and original. This time I selected pale pink and mahogany red as two main colors, dominating colors for this cozy cafe. And then of course a lot of wooden work here. Well, I think that it's nice. At least it was quite easy to color, so finally I have +1 in this book. Slow progress is still better than no progress at all, so maybe next time I will be able to do something else in this book, and in such way I will go closer to my aim to finish it one day. When I wanted to work with watercolors, I again colored in Coloriage Wild, Emmanuelle Colin, which I started to color quite actively recently, but mostly because I wanted to play with watercolor paints. Let me show you my June works. I hope that I did this one. Well, they are so similar. No, I think that this one I had to check. It was in the beginning of the month, and I think that I started to forget which one I did. Well, here you can see that I actually did quite active watercolor background with cobalt turquoise, with ultramarine, and with yellow-green color. They combined quite nicely here. I also added some more active stains. I wanted to add some dynamics to the page, and of course with such colors of the background, yellow and orange, which I selected for flowers and for her hair. She is ginger, she is lovely, so they always look nice. It's one of the most classical color combos. Another one again started with the background which I almost never do, yellow background, yellow-orange. And then I wanted to support this tropical atmosphere, so we have vibrant flowers, we have the hummingbird, very tiny. I would love maybe to have 2 birds to balance a little bit composition here. And as usual, I try to put a little bit of clothes on poor girls. At least I think that here it looks more natural rather than just leaving her without any dress. Book where I also color with watercolors and also with Derwent ink pens. It's books by Urban Anna. For June I decided to do a couple of pictures in my oldest book. It's first shopfronts. I think that maybe in July I will do something in Rome and Paris. In such way I try to use all my Urban Anna books and no one will be abandoned. So I did this one. Very lovely shop with a lot of flowers around. I think that flowers were the reason why I selected this one, but I also wanted to practice how to do this mostly yellow building, but with some additional shading or slightly different panels near the entrance. So it's mix of Inktense, Kohinoor Mondeluz and Derwent Graffitins. As usual, I think that I now use all three sets and they really combine nicely. They give quite nice result working together. The second one, I don't know why I selected this one. Maybe because I loved this shop on the bottom. It really has this lovely summer Mediterranean atmosphere, and that's what I felt when I looked at the initial picture. And I was really surprised when I started to Google that indeed it's shop from France, from south part of the France, so indeed it's Mediterranean atmosphere. Very lovely, very easy. The only concern that maybe I used too vibrant violet here. Now when I look at the whole page, that's where my eyes immediately go to those windows and only then to the lovely shop, but that's okay. I mostly color in this book when I just want to have pleasure from working with art supplies, not because I want to create something extremely original, because I copy original colors, but pleasure itself is just to work with those water-soluble pencils, with watercolors, to work on good paper, so I am very happy with this one. Another happy moment is that I started to color quite actively in Mythographic Cosmic Spirit. I already mentioned many times that when I purchased it, after I saw flip through, of course, I loved it, but somehow I didn't start it for a couple of years. And then now, during last 3 months, I started to color in it more actively, but June was the most productive month and I did this lovely page where I decided to do quick watercolor background. Here I used 3 colors. You can clearly see this muted Naples yellow, then through peach color into English red. All those colors, they created very good contrast to the white fur here. And then for flowers I decided that I can be more they can be more fantasy flowers, so they have those magenta purple colors of the leaves. In the very end I even added a little bit of metal watercolor, so partly this page is shiny. For me the easiest part was surprisingly to color fur. I used a couple of Derwent drawings from my old set. It was just warm gray plus a couple of polychromos pencils to work on fur texture, and yeah, it was interesting and pleasurable part. This one is lovely, but 2 other pictures probably are more creative. It's difficult to say which one is my favorite. Probably the third, which is Death. Here I am very pleased with original color palette. Of course, this subject, it allows you to experiment with colors, and you know that I love muted colors. I love violet, purple, magenta colors, so finally I was able to use a lot of them. To select pencils for this page, I even searched through all my brands, so I have here several polychromos pencils, several Derwent drawings, several Derwent color softs. Central part I finished with markers, the base for markers, and then pencils on top. Interesting, and even with such theme like this, I think that picture looks rather fantasy rather than grim. And the third, page where I immediately knew that I wanted to do orange-red background, also thing which I do very rarely. My backgrounds, they never are so vibrant as this one. I usually stop with green, with blue. But for this meditation, I decided that I can work on contrast. I decided to do a tree with almost golden leaves, more vibrant golden bells, and then thanks to the blue pants, the meditating character, he also isn't lost even surrounded by such vibrant colors. So I think that it was okay. When I color in this book, of course I struggle with lines which I consider excessive, with some flying things which I can't understand, which I think that they just they create some noise on the page and they distract attention from the main character. But because I use paints, sometimes I cover such elements which I dislike. And here in the end I sprinkled everything again with metal golden watercolor to create more magical atmosphere of this meditative trance. I think that it also added nice final touch. I really tried to mask all these lines, so at least lines on the background won't distract attention from the face, from those bells, which I really love. So I think that 3 pages, it's a very good result. I'm proud of myself. And finally, I'm not ashamed that such a lovely book, that it's laying that totally untouched. And final mythographic work, it was in deep blue. I love these fishes. They are extremely beautiful in real life, so of course I wanted to color them. But I started to color it actually from flowers. And this time I used my cheap Chinese pencils, but pencils which I absolutely love, and it's Sucolor. If you have this set of black barrel Sucolor pencils, 180, you know how many lilac, violet, purple, magenta and other similar colors we have in that set. You can combine them and you can create many color combos. So I decided that it's a good time to have a break from my Prismacolors, from polychromos. If Sucolor work quite well on this paper, if they have perfect colors, why can't I use my cheap pencils and to save a little bit more professional pencils? I think that those flowers, they look lovely, and I even added a little bit of green in the center, and that's also cheap pencils. I think that it's Black Widow Monarch. Background, it's dark marker first, and then on top of it I added pencils to add a little bit of shining. On the original line art we had those vertical lines, so I used this idea even when black lines disappeared beneath markers, and I also think that it added nice and interesting element. For fishes I used polychromos pencils, again because I already tested many times color combo of dark chrome yellow, orange glaze, cadmium orange, so I decided to use it once again and to do those vibrant fishes. Violet, lilac and orange and dark indigo, it always looks very spectacular, so I think that it was another successful coloring, and I'm glad that this month I did 4 mythographic works. I finally returned to Neco. Don't be surprised, it's Neco without dust cover, because I plan to do more works in it, so dust cover is laying safely on the shelf. I wanted to do a very detailed spread, but I decided that I need to return through more simple project, and that detailed spread I will start in July. In June I color this puppet show. I would say that I'm happy with this one like 80%. The area which concerns me, it's the wallpaper behind. Now I think that maybe I had to use something from colder color palette, maybe pale lilac, pale blue, even similar to her color, would be better contrast, and on the bottom part I used a lot of warm colors. It's eggshell, it's goldenrod, it's mineral orange, brown colors also, chestnut, and maybe I didn't have to use similar colors on the upper palette where I added those striped wallpapers. Apart from this concern about wallpaper colors, everything else I do love here. I love the dancers, ballerine. I do love how I did both cats. I think that colors of fur are lovely. I definitely will be using these color combos for the next cat pictures here, especially when I have many characters on one page. So I try to use different color combos for fur to make them quite unique. So I think that it's a lovely page. Just next time I will try to do a short break before I do background, not trying to color everything very quickly, rather than doing more research about the best background color, maybe trying some different colors. Well, anyway, another project finished, and now I am totally ready to do a spread from Alice in Wonderland. A lot of details, a lot of characters, but I think that it will be a fun project for July. If in June I didn't color Alice in Wonderland page in Neco, I at least colored Alice in Wonderland page in Jasmine Beckett Griffith's book. It was a difficult choice between white and red queen. In the end, I selected the red lady. Of course, I looked at the original painting by Jasmine, so I got this idea of additional blue color together with intense red for her dress. Most of all, I was interested in coloring this statue. I really tried to stay in limited color palette, and as usual on Jasmine pictures I tried to recreate her dreamy background, some misty backgrounds which she loves to add to her paintings and which I also love to recreate. Of course, with pencils it's more complicated, but here I think that I managed to do it. And first I finished the initial page. It was like this one. But then something was missing, and in the end I added those wooden panels, and I think that it was really clever finishing touch. Now I like it much more. Somehow this darker frame complemented the main image, and I definitely will try to recreate it on the white queen. I will rewatch my own video, and I hope that I will manage to do similar background. Well, it's sad that I didn't have more time for the white queen for other pictures, but at least I did my first page in this book, and finally it's also not completely abandoned. Next artist which I want to show you, it's Leila Duli. I have one big and one or two small pictures. In Symphony I have a peacock page where I really tried to do a less vibrant background, because my recent pictures, they suffer from very active backgrounds in this book, active in such ways that they even distract attention from the main image. I hope that here I still maintained the idea of Art Deco style ornament. Those irises, they definitely reminded me about Alphonse Mucha paintings with iris, and also peacock in the center. I decided to keep this white in the background. It really complemented those intense colors of feathers. I used Prismacolors, and I even used a little bit of golden paint. I so rarely add shiny golden elements to my pages that several pictures where I use them in June. It's even a surprise for me. I use them in Mythographic, I used it here. So I finally started to add some golden watercolors. And the second, as I promised myself that one day I will finish the whole book, I even color such pages which are not extremely inspiring. I usually prefer to color one main image rather than such repeated elements. But this one is lovely, it has very nice cute animals. When I selected colors, I also looked at the right side, even if they are independent. Several colors I decided to repeat, like this light aqua, like this indifferent blue, and of course golden colors for frame. Nothing special about this one, but sometimes it's also nice to color such ordinary pages, especially when your aim is to finish everything in the book. And Leon's journey. I think that it's one of my best works in this book. I did those two vases with flowers and with berries. Here I think that everything worked quite well. First I thought about maybe different color for poppies, because I was concerned that it has the same color like strawberries, like other red berries. But now I think that it's actually quite lovely that at least I managed to limit a little bit amount of colors. They also work quite well with those yellow flowers. The biggest challenge for me was to select right colors for the background, for the table. I definitely didn't want to do simple traditional wooden table where I usually use seashell pink, light amber, dark amber. No, this time I decided that I need a little bit of colder color, so I added muted turquoise and it really worked quite nice. And then I started to color this vase also in light and dark blue colors. I wanted to recreate famous Dutch pottery from Delft, but it didn't work for this page. Those colors were totally aligned to the flowers, to the background, so I'm happy that I managed to erase it almost completely. And then I selected much more soft peach, pink and muted gray colors. So my vase now it looks almost white, but with nice shading in all necessary areas like shadows beneath flowers or here near the table. I'm glad that I tested first color palette on small area. I realized that no, it will ruin the whole page. I changed my mind, and finally I'm very happy with the final look of this one, and it's all Prismacolor pencils. The final artist in this video is Karron. I will show you two works. The first one is in Little Folk. The both works I did with a similar technique using watercolor background and pencils for the girls, but the color palettes are totally different. For this one I deliberately selected very light watered watercolor paints, so you can barely see those blue, lilac, pink colors which I used. On the second one, background is very active. Here I was really interested in doing shadows on fabric which is supposed to be white. I think that I did it quite well, so I was very happy how everything worked. Nice balance between those yellow, green, red colors, one of the most classical color combos, and here it also worked quite well. The second one is much more vibrant, and here is my Queen of the Seven Seas. You can see that this time background is one of the most vibrant areas. It's several watercolors starting from cobalt green, cobalt turquoise, so several colors to create this imitation of water behind the queen, and then of course her very intense hair. I selected her because I wanted to color this specific color. I wanted to use a specific color combo for her hair, and of course I absolutely in love with her jewelry, her crown, her earrings, other elements which we have here. I experimented with additional colors to her skin. I have several basic colors which I traditionally use for fair skin, but here I also added some pink, lavender colors. Not everything worked quite well since the beginning, but because of the good paper, I was able to layer colors to deepen shadows where I lacked nice contrast. So in the end, I am very proud of this work. As usual, I love her girls because every one of them has its own character. You can imagine story behind each of the girls. They are quite proud, very beautiful, all of them. And I wanted to color it for May because she definitely can be one of the mermaids. I didn't have time, and I'm glad that I decided not to postpone it until the next mermaid, that I did it in June. And this one turned exactly like I wanted it, even if I struggled a little bit with skin. So definitely now I want to do more portraits, because with each finished picture my confidence started to grow, and I enjoy every moment coloring in all books by Karron. So I feel blessed that I have 3 books and I have such a wide choice of lovely ladies and sometimes even boys to select. So I definitely hope that in July I also will do one of her portraits. Well, thank you for watching, and until my next videos, I will see you in July.